On the marketing side, it was very specific to if we spend so much on pay-per-click advertising or on newsletter advertising or on different types of different types of marketing efforts, will we see the return? And even hiring people into our marketing department, it first started with hiring a college intern to work a couple hours a week that we could see, that I'd say, you need to be able to pay for yourself. So these projects that I'm handing to you, we need to know that they are actually going to bring in more customers. And that led to, okay, I'm going to hire my first person to manage SEO and pay-per-click. And I said to him, here's where the level we're at. You got to be able to pay for yourself within 6 months by showing that you can double where we're at, which effectively would pay for your salary. And so as we made each hire, similar thing on support, although it was a little bit different in that we would hire support and then know that if we couldn't get back to customers within a day, we needed to hire another support person. Salespeople, again, really looking at the metrics of how much revenue they were bringing in versus how much they're being paid. And the sales team started growing on more of a commission basis because we didn't want to pay a lot for a base salary. But once we saw the model where they're really they were basic, it was all inbound leads, no outbound on sales, as they were as leads were coming in or people who wanted to use the service, they'd sign them up. And what we ended up doing, we actually shifted away from the commission model at one point because we realized that we really wanted people who were more empathetic and able to provide good information, not being pushy salespeople. Because we got a lot of feedback from competitors in the industry who had commission salespeople that their salespeople were being too pushy. So we went the opposite way, and that saved us a lot of money because we didn't have to pay out anything in commissions or overpay salespeople in commissions, and so that also enabled the company to be more profitable. And what we heard from customers is they ended up going with us because the salespeople from our competitors were being too pushy because they're highly commissioned. So it worked both ways in that case. But again, by the time we sold the company, we were 70 employees, and our marketing team, I think, was maybe 10 people. But each new hire onto that marketing team was a similar conversation. We got to figure out how your position, your role produces ROI. Otherwise, we're not going to. It won't be about you. It will be about this position, whether we're going to keep this position or not, based on whether it produces ROI for the company. With companies that I've seen that have been heavily funded up front, there isn't that equation usually put into place because they hire and they have all the money that they can hire with, and there isn't that economic ROI equation for each particular employee or person. So by the time we got to 10 million in revenue, we were doing about $4.5 million in profit, which is net bottom line profit.
Pretty nice profit margins, huh?
40% profit margins, where our competitors, who were, some of them were much bigger than us, weren't doing any, they're still losing money, still raising money. So we had a great stability to what we could do. It also enabled us to be more, I don't know the word is generous, or have more fun, provide more benefits to our employees because we were so profitable. We would do things like company trips to Mexico, with everyone, and having, we decided we want to make it easier for people to get in the morning. So we had a chef come in to cook breakfast for everyone in the morning, so it made their mornings easier. But with that kind of cash flow and only 2 owners and no outside ownership, we could do things that were really helpful to the employees, and they also had a much more stable environment. We didn't have this up and down where we raised a bunch of money, hired a bunch of people. We're running out of money, so we had to let go of a bunch of people. And I've been involved in those companies where I've seen the employee base go up and down, and
Very hard on the culture.
it's very hard on the people, and so most of our employee, the common theme with our employees was they after they worked there for a while, they would say this is the best place I've ever worked. And some of our, team members were in their 50s and they'd worked a lot of different places, but that was a common theme. And that also fed and carried over into how happy they were at work, was how happy they were when they were helping customers. And customers would say, you guys are great. You seem like a really happy company. I love working with you guys. Whereas, we've had plenty of customers come from competitors saying, yeah, it was really, hard dealing with the company. It's constant turnover of employees, and they felt like, it felt like they were working with a family business, which, it did feel like a family in the company. So.
Yeah. So you've proven that a SaaS business can be built this way, and you've proven that multiple times. So,
Yeah.
question for you then, why then do so many of today's aspiring entrepreneurs who want to build a SaaS business think the first thing they have to do is go get some capital?
That's a good question. You should ask them.
I know, but
Um,
are they
I try to,
mesmerized by
I
the
have the
lure of
conversation
VC? What is
I,
it?
I have the conversation all the time. I mean, as like a mentor at Techstars, I give a talk about customer funded businesses, and I talk to, many people where I say, hey, you've already got paying customers. Rather than going out and raise money, go out and get more paying customers. And there's a combination of things that I see or hear from them. One is there's sort of this excitement level that they can be validated by people who invest in a lot of different companies like theirs, and so there's this validation of getting
Yep.
a big check from folks like that. That's one. Two, there's really a legitimate fear that if I take a wrong turn, I'm going to run out of money and not have a chance to really make this thing work. And so money in the bank creates creates enables them to relax a little bit into not being as fearful about, am I going to be able to connect the dots? It is a harder hurdle up front to create a customer funded business, no question about it. The benefits on the tail end, I'd say, far outweigh the burden of that hurdle. But when you're at that hurdle of, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get enough customers, and having the fear of that, and and thinking about quitting your day job to do it, it makes it a lot easier. It's easier, and as humans, we like to take the easier route sometimes, and that hurdle seems like too much to people, I think, a lot of times.
Sometimes I see my students come to me and say, well, here's the business I want to build, and I'm trying to raise money and I'm having a hard time doing it. And I ask them about their team, and I ask them what they're going to do. And they say, well, I'm going to manage this and another guy's going to manage that. But I don't hear anybody who's going to actually do this stuff. And they think they need to raise money to find people who are going to do the doing.
That's right. And
Do you see that?
yeah, I do. I do, and I think in a tech business, all my SaaS companies, I have partners who built the original code. So I'd say my first recommendation is yes, find someone that you see you think has that you could be business partners with, that can build the code if you're not one of the people building the code. If you're one of the people building the code, then find a partner that can really run the sales and marketing and the other side of things.